Hello and welcome back. Today we are taking a look at the top 10 figures I picked up in 2025. You may have seen I did a video about halfway through the year which looked at my top 10 to that point. This is the year end video. I don't know when this video is going to go up exactly, but I'm doing this in about a week before Christmas. I'm doubtful I'm going to get anything else which is going to make, top 10 lists. And even if it did, I feel it would be unfair to things I've had in the collection for 6+ months or whatever to be compared with something which I've got yesterday, solely because, there's that potential bias of it being new. But anyway, this is the year review of the top 10 figures for the year. My only rules are that it must have been a figure I purchased in 2025, regardless of the age of the actual figure itself. So if the figure came out 20 years ago, but I picked it up yesterday, a month ago or whatever, it could be included. That was pretty much my only rule, was that it needed to be that the figure, I needed to have had the figure in my collection for at least for a few weeks, just so that any potential new figure bias or whatever had passed and allowed me to actually be objective on the figures I'm looking at. I'm going to cut away in a minute. There are two figures in my 2025 top 10 2025 mid-year, which due to being buried deep in other parts of the collection or whatever, I couldn't put on display with the rest here. That is the McFarlane Superman figure from the new film, and the Drowned Viper from the Monsterverse toy line. So we're going to cut away to those now. I can't get him down at the moment because he's acting as a tree topper, but in the July update, Superman was one of the top 10 figures so far for the year. That's him there, and I will note that he still remains as one of the top 10 figures for the year. The Drowned Viper was another one of the top 10 figures for July. Unfortunately, I can't get him out because he's so far back in the rest of the collection. I wanted to give an honourable mention to the Fan Home Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord, which I built throughout the course of 25. Given its price and comparison to other figures in my collection, I feel it's unreasonable to include this in the top 10. But I absolutely love this. It was probably the best collector item purchase of the year. I've had this on display for a few months now, and I'm still absolutely completely in awe of it. It's an amazing piece, real centerpiece to my collection. Absolutely fantastic, and I do believe it needs a proper honourable mention, but as I said, I don't feel comfortable including it in the top 10 to be fair to everything else in my collection. And we're back. So as you noted, these Superman will also form part of the overall top 10 figures for the year. It's still a great figure and one I absolutely love having. It's really poseable. It's overall a really great figure. But here we have the rest of the 2025 figures from the start or the middle of the year. We had the Superman Kaiju toy, which, if you're not familiar with it, was a kid's toy. It does come with a little 6-inch Superman, but the idea is that Superman hits the figure and its chest bursts open and slime pours out. I still think this is a really fun kids toy. Really great figure for the price point it was. It was a really, as I said, it's a kids toy. It's aimed at kids, but I think it was really well done. And that overall has been my view for the figures. You know, it's very hard to compare a 40 quid Marvel Legends figure to a 40 quid kids play toy. They're very different. They have different demographics, different target appeals, etc., etc. So my overall bias has been, or my overall view has been, one, has the figure, have I liked the figure? Two, has it achieved what it was supposed to achieve for the price point it was set at? Which I definitely feel the Kaiju did. Another one of the figures was the Marvel Legends Lizard. Really great figure, really posable. I've had a lot of fun with this figure throughout the year. Initially, when I opened it, I wasn't amazed by it, but the more I had it in the collection, the more I looked at it, the more I played with it, it became a real top favourite for mine. So that was in the collection. We had the Biker Mice from Mars bikes, sort of including the figures as well. The spot for these was all three bikes. I couldn't pick a single one, but just for display purposes of this, I've only pulled out Vinnie's. I thought the bikes were really, really well done. They've got some light up features. They had stands done in the form of smoke. They fit the mice really well. Overall, just a great addition. The Secret Wars Captain America, I thought this was a really well done figure. I loved the scales on the figure, the face sculpt, the destroyed shield, all of that just really well done. May from the Acolyte Star Wars series, was the black figure. Again, I thought this was a really great figure. Some really, really great detail throughout. I loved the ability for her to hold her throwing knives. Some nice posability, some nice detailing. Overall, a really great Star Wars figure. Transformers wise, Skybite, excellent figure. Still an absolutely amazing figure, and one I absolutely love. I'm playing with this quite a bit even now after having had it for, you know, God knows how long. Some real fun transformations, lovely detailing. Overall, just a top figure and one of the best Transformer figures of the year. Which then brings us to the HasLab Robots in Disguise, Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus figures. Again, really great Transformer figures. I liked both of them individually. I think they've got a nice combined feature. They came with some excellent parts. Overall, really well done. And I was really pleased for it for being my first HasLab. Then finally, and certainly not least, actually I'm just going to pause here and say that none of these are in order. I don't necessarily have a number one spot. This is just my overall top 10 for the year, or as it was in July, sorry. But yeah, last figure, or last but not least, was the Gamerverse Venom from Spider-Man 2. Absolutely fantastic figure. I loved the articulation on this figure, the accessories it came with. Overall, this has really sort of been a perfect representation of what I feel Venom should be. It looks great. It poses fantastically. For a while, I had this posed on the shelf, actually battling the two Spider-Man. I was able to get Miles on top and have Peter coming off the side, so it allowed for some really, really great display options. So overall, another brilliant figure for the year. So that was the mid-range point of figures for 2025. We're now going to look at what is going to be cut and what I will be putting in their spots. Okay, so removing in no particular order, the first one to come out is the Marvel Legends Lizard. As I said, I still absolutely love this figure. It's been a fantastic figure, and I've got some great enjoyment from it. But There have just been some better figures throughout the year, which sadly knock this from the top 10 spot. Same with May. Great figure, but there's just been some better stuff in the year. Skybite, this is the most painful one for me to remove. I absolutely love this figure. It's probably one of my favorite Transformer figures I own. I would even argue it's maybe my favorite figure I own. But overall, I do feel that there were some better figure options which came in the year, which kind of knocked this out of the spot. But yeah, this is a really, really hard one to remove. Captain America comes out. Again, great figure, love it. But yeah, there's been so many other great figures in the year, and as amazing as this is still just a basic Marvel Legends figure. So unfortunately it is cut. So that leaves us with Venom, the Robots in Disguise, Optimus Prime, the Biker Mice from Mars, Bikes, and the Kaiju. These were all such amazing figures, and I just, even, X number of months on, they still have a real center in my collection. I view all of them with great fondness. The Kaiju, every time I look at it, it can't help but make me smile. I think it's just such a fun kid's toy. And in a time when kids' toys are getting less and less, this was a real standout piece. But anyway, as for the remaining figures for the year, Superman obviously still remains. He's still a top figure for me. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 figures which need to come, which have come out, and 5 which are going to be added. And again, this is in no particular order at all. But first up, we are going to have the Jurassic World Rebirth Spinosaurus. I forget the name of the actual set, but it was a 3-figure set with Spino and the 2 human characters from the set. The human characters were, nothing special, just a basic generic kids 3-inch figure. They're fun to play with, have some nice posability to them, but the standout piece for the set was the Spino. I am just going to say that any figures which were part of a set, they represent the entire set and not just the individual figure, in my opinion. But yeah, we have the Spino. This isn't a deluxe figure release or anything like that. It's just a very basic, simple figure. But I think it looks great. I think the paint apps on it are amazing. The articulation's nothing to write home about, but overall I think this looks great. I can imagine a lot of kids, and this again is a kid's toy, it's not a collector's item, having a lot of fun with this set, especially since it came with 2 humans to face off against it, to be terrorized by the Spino. Overall, great figure. I just love that paint app. So that is taking a top 10 space. I was actually really, I picked up quite a few of the Jurassic World figures in the year, or in the middle of the year certainly, and all of them have been really, really fun, enjoyable figures to play with. So I'm trying to get as much of it in here as I can, but I'm concerned the camera's going to drop. There we go. I think the Jurassic World line is a really great kids line. There are so many dinosaurs for them to pick up and play with. We get some humans with it. But overall, really, really great. Next up, I'm only bringing in part of the set because it's quite a big set, but one of my favourite sets this year was the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Battle of the Heroes Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker 2-pack with the floating part barges and everything. Amazing set. Even several months after my review of this, I absolutely love this set. The figures were really, really well done. I love the face sculpts on Anakin, the additional arms, the effect pieces, the etc. etc. The barges were really, really well done and make excellent display pieces. This has still got a center piece in my collection. I absolutely love it, and it definitely deserves the place it gets. As I said, due to the size, I'm only showing part of it, but it is for the entire set. Keeping on the same track, then we are going to bring in the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Savage Land 3-pack with Sauron, Savage Land Rogue, and She-Ra. I can't remember her name, but it came with the 2 Marvel Legends figure and Sauron. While this spot goes to all 3, this has it, in my opinion, is Sauron, which tips it over the scales. Such an amazing figure. I absolutely love the paint apps on this figure. So well done. The articulation's great. I love the beak on it. The accessory at first glance seems like nothing to write home about, but it really, really brings that figure together once you've got it on there. And it clips in such a fun little way as well, of just going over the bridge of the nose, but it holds really well. So Sauron takes position as one of the top 10 figures for the year. Then we have the Studio Series Optimus Prime. Now I know this was a reissue, but I only got this in 25. This for me is as perfect of an Optimus Prime as I think you can reasonably get. If you saw my review on it, you know that as much as I love the transformation of it, it's still not quite as true to the transformation on screen as I would have liked, but nonetheless, given the articulation of the figure, given the scale, given everything about it, I feel this is the most reasonable transformation and look you could reasonably get for a Studio Series figure. Absolutely fantastic. Takes center place in my Transformers display and remains my favorite Optimus Prime figure I own. Just a fantastic piece. On the same vein, we then have the Studio Series Megatron. I've currently got this in its tank mode, but its robot mode as well was just as fantastic. I know some people out there aren't happy that this isn't a gun, but that was never going to happen. And in fact, I think I prefer it being a tank over a gun. Probably the best Megatron they've done, in my opinion, or at least Megatron I have. Transformation is really quite intricate, but it's smooth, relatively intuitive, and both in tank mode and robot mode it looks like a fantastic figure. Really great addition, and it's brilliant to have both Megatron and Optimus Prime together in the same scale and series. So that gives us Superman 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, have I miscounted somewhere? Okay, so I think I must have originally intended for Megatron and Optimus to take joint place together, which I think is fair. They definitely take it. They're both great figures. but they do take a joint place. So the last figure I wanted to bring in, and I do feel like needs to be included because I just absolutely love it, is the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Holocaust. Now this is an interesting figure for me because it was a Build-A-Figure. I had to purposely go out and buy the entire wave of figures, even though there was a lot of figures there I didn't want. But I loved this figure so much that I just had to have that entire wave. It's been done so amazingly well. I love all of the molded detail on this figure. There's some really great pieces. I love the bronze plastic. The helmet comes off to give us this amazing skull and fire pieces. Overall, such a fantastic figure. There have been very, very few Marvel Legends waves where I've had to have the Build-A-Figure. 9 times out of 10, even if it's a Build-A-Figure I really, really want, the fact that there are 2-3 figures in the set that I just don't have an interest in have actually stopped me from getting it. But this figure looked so great that I had to do the entire wave, and I was not disappointed by this figure. He really is worth it and is one of the best Marvel Legends figures we've had in quite some time. So there we have it. There is my top 10 figures for 2025. As noted, we got the Superman from McFarlane Toys, which is the 2025 movie version with the cloth cape. Great figure. I still love it. And as you've seen, it's currently working as the tree topper for our Christmas tree this year. Sauron, another great figure. I love the posability on this. But I think, for me, it's actually the paint apps on this figure which really just make this pop. Just make it an absolutely standout figure. We have the 2 Studio Series Optimus Prime and Megatron, which definitely belong together. They make a great pair. They're both so fantastically well done, with some great accessories, great detailing, great posability. Overall, as perfect as you could reasonably expect for the price points they're coming in at. We got the Kids Toys Jurassic World 3-pack with the 2 figures and that Spinosaurus. Overall, it's a simple figure. No real articulation, but those paint apps really make it pop. It just makes it stand out in such an eye-grabbing way that it can't be ignored. The Kaiju, another kid's toy, but so much fun. Really reminiscent of those 80s and 90s slime toys, which were, a staple of childhood, at least for me growing up. But more than that, it feels like a real play toy for kids. It has some fun action features to it. The Superman it came with wasn't just a basic 5.5. It was a 6-inch figure with some really great articulation for what you got on it. Overall, brilliant figure, brilliant toy. I imagine kids who have had this have had so much fun with it. If you're a parent and you're still thinking of things for your kids for Christmas and they like superheroes and they like monsters, you cannot go wrong with this piece. We have the Biker Mice from Mars bikes. Not only did the Biker Mice form my top figures for 2024, their bikes have definitely taken a centre place for 2025. Yeah, in reality, I think including the bikes was just an excuse to be able to include those figures again. Nacelle have knocked it out of the park with these Biker Mice from Mars figures. I cannot wait for the next wave of figures, which are due the middle of next or during the first quarter of next year. If they are anything like the mice we have had so far, they are going to be top contenders for toys for next year as well for me. Really looking forward to them. Great figures, great bikes. Couldn't be happier with having those in the collection. The first HasLab I've ever gone in on was brilliant. Brilliant figure. I love the two figures on their own. I love them combined together. Some really great detailing on them. I love this chrome on the Ultra Magnus pieces. Some nice accessories which came with it. Overall, for what we ended up paying for it, which was like 300, I think, off the top of my head. Great figure, and I couldn't have asked for more from it. Really, really happy with it. Star Wars Black Series. We had some good figures in the Star Wars Black Series line, but I'm not a big collector of the Black Series line. I just pick up the odd figures here and there. But that San Diego Comic Con exclusive 2-pack with the diorama pieces was an absolute must for me, and I am so happy I managed to secure it before they sold out. It's been a fantastic piece. Takes center place in displays for me. Posability of the two figures which came with it, as good as you could possibly ask for. They came with some really great accessory pieces as well, which just took them to the next level. Then finally we have our two Marvel Legends figures. Venom, a deluxe figure from earlier in the year, but it still holds its place incredibly strong. As I said, for me, Venom is this big hulking character, and this nails it perfectly. I love that tentacle accessory it comes with. The posability on him is amazing, and because of his size, you can even have him properly interacting and fighting with other Marvel Legends figures and get him posed in a really great way. So he's just been an excellent piece. And then Holocaust. I could not pass this figure up. As I said, I don't go in on the builder figures, but this one was a must for me. He looked amazing in the pictures and the videos I saw, and in person he's even better. It's a simple paint scheme of bronze plastic with some bronze paint, but the attention of detail which went into the sculpt of the figure, the posability of him, couldn't have asked for more. Completely worth that, getting those other figures I had no interest in just to complete him. But there we have it. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I would love to hear what some of your top figures for the year have been. Excuse me. But until next time, stay safe. I hope you had a good holiday season. Have a prosperous new year, and remember, more than ever, freedom is a right, not a privilege.